Wow.
Yes. Hello. Back again. Forms in pieces. Yeah.
So you're not gonna introduce yourself?
Just do it little quick. I'm just getting into it. Warm up into it. Yeah, I'm trying to say. But yeah. My name is. It's your boy Sam.
It's your guy Hobz.
It's your girl Tiwa.
Yeah,
I've got a special guest.
Oh yeah, another special guest. We haven't got the other two pieces, unfortunately. They're not with us right now, but wishing the best. So it's your girl Tiwa.
Yeah.
Tiwa. Well, what do you go by, Tiwa? Can I ask?
Tiwa.
Yeah, is it just Tiwa or is it like?
Well, my full name is Tiwalola.
Come on, you're back.
But yeah, most people just call me Tiwa for short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I like both, to be very honest. What I don't like is when people are like, oh, Tiwa, like Tiwa Savage. Like, no.
Wow, really? Isn't that a compliment?
Yeah, but no. I'm just like, I'm not Tiwa Savage. Like, it's Tiwa like Tiwa.
Yo, you.
Full stop.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, you're the only Tiwa in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, literally.
Even than that. So then, what exactly do you do, if I can ask?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a confidence coach and a speaker and a podcast host, and I'm the founder of Confident and Killing It. Confident and Killing It is basically like a community, like a self-love revolution that wakes women up to their worth so that they can really be confident and unstoppable and just live the life that they truly desire. So yeah, that's like really my mission in life, to really empower women so they can start making their own choices and live life on their own terms.
That's lit.
Wow.
That's lit. What made you get into the lifestyle of picking the coaching lifestyle?
Because I was like volunteering as a youth leader. So like a couple of years ago, I was in a job that I absolutely hated, and I was like, there's more to my life than being stuck in a job that I hate.
Okay.
There has to be. And so I started volunteering as a youth leader, and then that went really well. Like I was like mentoring the young girls and like helping them with life, and I saw all of them had confidence issues.
Okay, cool.
And I remember when I was 16, I didn't love myself, I wasn't feeling confident, and I was like, here we are again, another generation of young girls growing up not loving and believing in themselves. Like this is not okay. So I literally just started making like videos on Instagram about how important it is to love and believe in yourself. This was back in like 2016.
Okay, cool.
And then after videos, went to more videos, and then I started doing in-person events in like Lagos, London, New York, South Africa. And then I was like, actually, why don't I try this coaching thing? Because so many people kept on asking me for advice. So I was like, let me just try this coaching thing, and then it worked out really well.
So just to clarify, you said you went to South Africa,
New
Lagos, all paid for, New York as well.
Yeah, so I live in London.
Dropping it down, man. Dropping it down. Come on.
So London, I put on an event. So like I sold tickets for that. I'm Nigerian, so my family live in Nigeria. So I was there over summer, and I decided to put on an event because I was like, yeah, why not? Let me just try it out and see. So that was actually my first event in Lagos, and 200 girls signed up, and I was only expecting like 30. Yeah, so that made me really like motivated, because like, wow, it showed me that there's really demand for what I was doing. Yeah. And then South Africa, I was actually there on a work trip. So my old company paid for that, but then I reached out to Oprah Winfrey School in Johannesburg and told them that I was coming and I would love to speak to the girls, and they were like, yeah, like we love your work, come on through. So they picked me up from the airport, took me to the school, I spoke to the girls, and then they took me back to the airport, and then I took a flight from Joburg to Cape Town for my work trip. So that worked out really well.
Yeah. That is lit. Nah, you're really Nigerian. You're not seeing opportunities.
I use opportunities, and like, let's say, so New York, I was there on holiday, and then everywhere I go, I would look out for people who did something similar to me and reach out to them and say like, do you want to collaborate? Let's do an event together. You get your community and I'll show up and speak to them.
Yeah.
So that's how I grew the brand in the early days, through collaborations and just like reaching out to people who are already doing cool things, because I didn't have communities in all these different countries, but that's not really important. It's about finding somebody who does and then collaborating with them.
Was there a fear when you first went out to, like, say, the different countries, and then on top of that reaching out to different people as well? Was it like, because you felt like within yourself, I'm here to empower, there wasn't really any initial fear?
No, not really. I think one of the what I was actually more afraid of was posting videos on Instagram.
Oh,
Yeah, that for me was quite scary, because people knew me as, like, a fun going girl, like things like that. And I was quite a positive person, but to come out and be like, I don't want to use the word motivational speaker, but basically to come out and be talking about female empowerment and self-love and like more in-depth topics was quite new. So I was kind of afraid, like, oh my gosh, what if people think this is cringe? What if they judge me? What if they laugh? Like, my negative thoughts, the day I posted my first video on Instagram, like, my negative thoughts were on overdrive. And like all sorts of things. Like, I don't know if guys get this, but for girls it was like, oh, your skin isn't clear enough for you to be on camera, like, you need to, your voice isn't like video enough, like, so like all of these things were like swirling around in my head. But I had to remind myself that the message in me, like the message I wanted to bring to the world, was more important than the fear I was feeling. And so that's what I used to overcome my fear. I have to always tell myself, like, the message in me is so much more important.
Man. So I feel like confidence is going to be the topic of today, really, because I feel like confidence isn't, like, there's people that I know that are confident, like, in different areas of their life, but they don't have to translate that. So kind of what I want to ask you, kind of thing, is, what is confidence to you? Like, what would you define that as?
Confidence is a practice. First things first. It's not, you don't just wake up one day and you're like, yes, I'm flawless, I'm confident.
You
and
think?
then, of course, no one's born with confidence.
Don't you? Do I disagree with that though? Because it's like there's people are naturally confident in certain areas, like good speakers that are naturally born good speakers. Do you know what I mean?
It's not natural. They are intentional about doing those things. So I'm confident as a speaker because I speak a lot. That's practice, right? I'm confident in things because I do those things a lot. Essentially, that's practice. I didn't just wake up one day and I was like, boom, and I'm an amazing speaker and I'm super confident at it. No, I had to practice, and then I became confident at the thing. So for me, confidence is an in-depth belief in yourself and in your abilities. It's about believing that you have something great to offer the world and you're going to be unapologetic about it. That's what confidence really means to me. And not being afraid to share that with the world, because there's some people who know they're brilliant, but they're so afraid of what other people think of them that they don't put themselves out there. So you would never actually know. So for me, confidence is knowing your greatness and not being afraid to show that greatness and use it for something positive.
Do you think confidence also means that you've got to know your weakness as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I always say, like, if you don't know your weaknesses, like, and learn how to manage them, they will literally start managing you. And that's not what you want.
Mad.
You want to be able to know, okay, these are what my strengths are, these are what my weaknesses are, and then you are aware of when your weaknesses start to play out and you can catch them. If you're not awake to your weaknesses, you can be living on autopilot and have no idea that you're basically sabotaging yourself.
At the same time,
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because these times I've got a stutter, innit? I've got a stutter. So that's one thing. Why are you mocking the accent? Oh my days.
I've got a start.
I got a stutter. Hey. Listen, you're a guest here, you know. We keep on the podcast, you know. Come on. But wait, what's wrong with what? Is it an accent that said it in?
Yeah, it's just the way you said it.
Do you know what? I've been told this at work that I've got like a bit of a Cockney accent sometimes.
Yeah.
I
You
think.
know when like
Wait, you think?
Yeah.
I've been told at work and everywhere I go. Would you agree?
I get that a bit. You know when like when you're in Nigeria and like you watch stuff on TV and you're like mimicking a British accent. It's all like water.
What you gonna buy from that?
Yeah. That's my own game.
I've been around Oyinbo's too much. You know what I'm trying to say. But because I was back to my main point.
Sorry.
I'm joking now. But it's like I've got a stutter, and I would like to think I'm confident. I'll be real with you, because when it comes to networking and things like that, I'm very good at that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm very good. And I've always thought, like, for me personally, there's been no practice. In my opinion, there's been no practice. There's been no, like, I was just born with it kind of thing. One thing I will say is that my life has made me become a certain way. So I've had to become independent from a young age. Hence, I have to talk a lot more from a young age kind of thing. So maybe that's what's made me more confident in life. But I would have never thought that like it's a practice that people got to go through.
So it's a strength of yours, right? So like you weren't born with it, but it's just like something you're naturally good at, and that's great, and that's a strength of yours. And the more you use that strength, the better you become at it.
Practice,
you know. Yeah. So you could be somebody who's so good with people, but if you put yourself in a job where you don't speak to people at all, you're gonna get nervous, like, oh, maybe you've forgotten how to speak to people. Do you see what I mean? So it was a strength of yours and you used it continuously, and so you stayed confident in it. But if you do something and you stop and you forget about it, the confidence is gonna go.
Yeah,
it's your circumstances.
Yeah,
just your circumstances.
I was gonna say so confidence isn't just about talking. When I hear confidence, I'm thinking big chest,
yeah,
loud in the room.
no.
That's not really confidence, is it?
No,
it's a circumstance.
Yeah,
literally whatever you grew up in or whatever you had to adjust at a young age, is you adapt it from young and then you take it up when you're older. So then it's within you from then. Like, so word to what Tiwa said, that it's literally it's within you from like a long time ago. So yeah, that's why I agree with what she said.
I unleashed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you have your strengths, but then there are also some things you can be intentional about. So like for me, I always thought like growth just came with age. So when I was like 20, I was like, when I'm 25, I'll be making money, I'll be grown, life will be good. But that's not how it happens. Like growth is something you have to be intentional about. Like you have to decide, okay, this is the kind of woman or man I want to become. How am I going to get there? And that's what I think a lot of people don't do. Like confidence is not necessarily about being the loudest person in the room. You can be an introvert and still be confident.
But how would that look like to you?
So like I said, like confident in your ability. Being an introvert doesn't mean like introverts still speak, but they speak when they want to, and when they speak, there's power in when they speak. So, you know, it's like you can still be somebody who prefers to stay at home and not really be out all the time. So basically being an introvert just means that you get your energy from personal time. And when you spend time with other people, it drains you. Extroverts get energy from spending time with other people. And when they're by themselves, sometimes they don't like it. They feel uncomfortable. Yeah. That's literally all it is. It's not about, oh, you're not good enough, so you have to be an introvert. Like,
what would you say you are then, personally? You?
And I think another thing is, I don't think anyone is only one thing.
I was going to say
I think everybody has tendencies, like introvert, extrovert tendencies. So like, I call it Tiwa time. Like I love Tiwa time. Yeah, literally. I schedule it into my diary. Like I love my own personal time. But then I also love hanging out with people and my friends and like speaking to big groups of people. So I think I'm a mix. I get energy from both, to be honest. Probably an extrovert, introvert. Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, you know, when you were talking about like our extroverts get energy from people, like I've been told I'm an extrovert, innit? I don't see why, but I've been told I'm an extrovert.
Yeah.
Who? And it's like when I'm around people, yeah. Why are you screaming like that?
You don't know why. Is that loud on the phone? This one.
But listen, like when I'm around people, like I am the host kind of person, which is fine. Yeah. But sometimes I'm like, go home. You don't be at my house until like 2-3 in the morning.
Exactly.
Go home, like homeless people. Go home.
Yeah, literally that. Exactly. So it's like everybody has their limits to.
Yeah, I love you guys. Don't get me wrong. But
I love you. I don't love you, bro.
Do you know what I mean? But it's interesting because the thing is as well, like with confidence. So the reason why I always have like an issue with it a little bit is because in my place of work, my surroundings, sometimes I feel like I've got to curve myself because I don't want to come across as cocky.
Yeah.
So then the thing is, like, what is the line between like cocky and confidence from like a confidence coach?
Yeah.
What is the line?
Oh, I love that question because a lot of people mix up confidence and arrogance. They're not the same thing. Okay.
Alright, cool.
So when you're a confident person, you know you're good, but that does not mean like other people can't be as good as you. Like, as a confident person, I'm like, I'm amazing. You're amazing at what you do. You're amazing at what you do. Great. Yeah, there's enough room for everyone to thrive when you are a confident person. When you're arrogant, you have the mentality that there's only one room for somebody at the top and I have to be the one. So your goal is to squash everybody down so that you can be the one at the top. That's where your ego comes in and you think you're better than other people. confident people don't necessarily think they are better at others. They focus on themselves in their own lane. And they're like, I'm good at this and this is my business. You can be good at podcasting as well. And that's great. Like, good for you. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I am also good at what I do.
Yeah.
So when you're a confident person, you lift other people up. You use your confidence to create positive vibes and energy, and you empower others, versus when you're arrogant, you make people feel bad about themselves, so they retreat so that you can get to the top.
What about if you're like, from personal experience as well, but what about if like you're a confident person and you want everyone around you to be on your level, but maybe the way you go about it can come across as arrogant? What do you call that dynamic? I can give an example if you want.
Okay, yeah.
So like, I remember like, I've got a friend where like we're working together, and it's like there'll be things that he'll be doing that I'll be like, bro, why not this way? Why not that way? Kind of thing. And I think whether it's because of the way I was brought up and the way I was taught to improve, it can come across very harsh. Like tough love, basically. Tough love. So like, a good example, like there's been times when I've been with my boys and my boy loves me, but look at you jobless fool, but go and get a job kind of thing. And that's bare like rude in that, fam. So, but I'm used to that. So when I talk to my friends sometimes, I'll be like, bro, what's wrong with you? Do it better. Do it this way. Do it that way. And I can understand why somebody who hears that would feel like you said, feel like shit about themselves, they're not doing a good job. But as for me, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just trying to support my bro.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the best way.
Yeah.
But I'm not arrogant. But do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
The line's blurred.
That's where you have to use your own like emotional intelligence, right? To know your friend and the person you're talking to. So you can't just say, oh, this is how I am, so I'm going to talk to everybody the way I want to and expect them to take it. It's like, no, you need to understand the person you're speaking to. What's their communication style? If you go to one of your boys that are like, stop being a waste man, like get up, go and do your work, and he's like, he doesn't really respond well to that, then that's not the way you should necessarily speak to them. Like, you got to understand what's his own kind of like style, like what motivates him, and then use what motivates him in his own language kind of thing to encourage him, not just what your own style is. So it's kind of like just being aware of how other people think and how other people feel, and not necessarily telling them what to do, but find out why they aren't doing what they want to be doing.
That's bit energy though, isn't it?
Not necessarily. It's just like you've got to adapt. Like, think about the way you talk to me, you're not going to speak to your boss at work the same way. So obviously,
but I do. I won't lie, I do. And I've got trouble for you at work, to be honest.
Hey,
then boy, you need to adapt.
But do you get what I'm trying to say though? And you're a great example of this. Is like, you know me, you know I'm quiet. And I'm trying to say, but it's all love. Like, there's no ill intent to how I speak to my friends. I do recognize that, like, I've got to be a bit nicer, and I am trying.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, when you've got that relationship with someone, it's pure love. Like, I'll be concise, straight to the point. Go and get a job. Why are you jobless? You know what I mean? I won't come out and say, oh, so you're jobless because you... Nah, I ain't got energy for that. My life's busy as it is. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I don't know if I'm being arrogant now.
I don't think that's arrogant. I just think that's like
a communication skill.
But yeah.
Communication. I got bad communication. And I'm on a podcast. I need to do better.
No. It's just the awareness of how other people might be feeling. It's like this thing in relationships. Like, why do we talk about love languages, right?
Oh, don't get me started.
Yeah, you're not meant to love people the way you express love. You're meant to love people the way they want to be loved. Because you can be doing the most for somebody who does not care about that. But let's say like you can be buying the most gifts but never spend time with the person. They don't even care about your gifts. All they want is personal time, and you don't even do that. So they still don't feel loved. So it's about understanding how people want to be spoken to and loved, and you communicating in that style. Now, you can't do that for every single human being that you meet. That will be effort. But the people that you do know and you do communicate with, a lot of people, just by sitting and listening to them first, you will get a vibe. Right?
Yeah, facts.
My job as a coach isn't to just have somebody sit down and tell them you need to do this, and this. Actually, no. We need to listen more to other people, what they're saying, and then ask them the questions so they can figure it out on their own. I'm not here to tell you how you should live your life. I'm here to wake you up, show you new perspectives, and then you have to make your own decisions.
Yeah. So like there's not one rule to confidence. There's not one rule.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. Because I think that's a thing when I see in social media. A lot of people feel like there's a one way to success kind of thing, whether it be trapping, whether it be selling whatever, fraud.
Yeah.
There's one way to get certain things, but like from what you're saying, it's like there is more than one way to achieve a certain goal.
Oh, 100%.
And I feel like everyone needs to learn that. Like, so is that like kind of like your advice to people? Like you need to. I can't tell you how to be confident. You need to find your own way, or like
be your guide.
No, I can tell people how to be confident, because confidence is quite strategic. They're like things you do that will make you confident.
Oh,
like what, like daily affirmations? Affirmation? Is that the word?
Affirmations.
Yeah.
So not necessarily that. Okay, so if we're looking at what are practical things you can do to be confident, first things first is you need to have an awareness of your strengths. You need to know what you're good at. You need to know what comes natural to you. You need to know, what do people praise you or compliment you for? You need to know, like, what is the greatness inside of you? You have to be aware of that, because a lot of people don't even know what they bring to the world. They don't know what they're good at, and then that makes them insecure. So first things first, when you're dealing with confidence, well, if you want to be confident, first practical tip is to know, okay, I am resilient because, whenever I go through challenging situations, I can bounce back. A time when I was resilient was when COVID happened, or when I lost my job, or when this and that, right? You need to keep receipts of your accomplishments and your strengths to remind yourself of all the great things you've achieved. So that's like a practical thing. Like, confidence is actually very scientific. So I do a lot of work in positive psychology, and there's like 5 pillars of well-being. And there's like 5 practical things, like scientifically proven, that you can do to have good mental health, self-esteem, and things like that. Because so it's called the PERMA model. P stands for positive emotions. So like building the positive vibes, overcoming the negative thinking, things like that, being intentional about happiness, joy, doing what you love. E is for engagement. How engaged are you in the work that you are doing? Productivity isn't just about how many meetings did you attend, how many emails did you send off. It's actually about, do you know what matters to you, and are you spending your time doing that?
Okay, cool,
Yeah. So being engaged, being in the flow, like when athletes get in the flow and they like lose themselves in the game and they play amazing. Yeah, that's what engagement is. So many people, like I said, are living their lives on autopilot. They hate their job. They hate this. They hate that. They're not engaged in what they're doing. So naturally, there's going to be a lack of productivity. So if you actually know what you care about, what you value in life, and you do more of that, you will feel engaged and productive. And then R stands for relationships. Are you surrounded by healthy, positive people, or are you surrounded by toxic people who pull you down? Because you can believe in yourself, but if you put yourself in a toxic environment where people are always telling you you're not good enough, you don't have what it takes, who told you could do that or this, it is going to drag you down. If you are in a job that you hate, it is going to drag you down, even though you might be the most confident person in the world. So having healthy relationships is key. And then M stands for meaning. How much meaning is there in your life in terms of, are you living a purposeful life? Are you living, for something bigger than yourself? Because when you obsess over, oh, this is all happening to me, and your own in your own little bubble, that can also knock your confidence. So when you live for something greater, when you work with people to achieve something, it actually boosts your confidence and your mental well-being. And then the last one is achievement. So that's all about celebrating yourself. And this is very like British culture. We don't celebrate ourselves. Like when somebody compliments you, you're like, oh no, I can't take it. Like no, when someone compliments you, just say thank you. Like keep it moving. But we don't celebrate ourselves enough. We don't acknowledge all the good things we do. And it's literally scientifically proven that if you celebrate yourself, like every single day, you write down 3 things that went well for you today, and you keep track of your accomplishments, it's like it sends positive vibrations to your brain and to your mind. So yeah, those are like the 5 things, the PERMA model. And if you do these things, you will have healthy mental health and well-being and better self-esteem.
See you, yeah. I'm scared because you're someone. If I talk to you, I leave my job tomorrow. I will quit my job tomorrow.
Yes.
Man, because like, and I think everything you're saying is facts, because there's one thing that you said, yeah, that for me I've learned over the recent years, and it's about like looking back over the year and saying, what have I achieved? Like, what have I celebrated myself?
Yeah.
Like, what have I done?
Yeah.
And like, word to what you said, I said earlier, is like, because of where I've come from and how I grew up, it's very easy for me to look forward and only look forward and not see what I've achieved. It's very easy for me to be like, oh, like my achievements are nothing. Like, okay, it's nothing. And that's also because of, you mentioned it being British culture, but I think, I don't know, but from what I see from a Nigerian, a Yoruba perspective as well, celebrating your achievements is not always the main thing. Some households. Yeah. A good example could be you can get a B. Yeah. Why didn't you get A? Yeah. Or Olu got first class. Why haven't you got this? Yeah. Do you know what I'm trying to say? They compare a lot, and it plays you down. And even there's been times when I'm talking to my like family member, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm doing sick. They're like, oh, shut up. In front of your elders, what do you know? What have you achieved? What and it like they're trying to humble you or something, but that kind of downplays your achievements.
Yeah. So I always say to people, like, there's no point being the world's best kept secret. There's really no point. And also, hiding your gifts is not the same thing as being humble. You can be a humble person and use your gifts in a powerful way that changes your life and changes the people around you. But saying, oh no, I'm really not good at this, or like say because you want to be humble, that does not help you at all, because all you're doing is literally sending messages to your subconscious that you don't have what it takes, so you're not good enough. And that's not true. If you've achieved something, own it. Like, own it with your chest. It's not bragging. And again, when I'm somebody who talks about both my wins and my losses, because I think it's important to not just say, oh guys, I got this workshop, I'm working with this client, oh, I got this amount of money. Like, life is not perfect. So I think everybody has a responsibility, and especially if you have like a public profile, to share both your wins and your losses, so that people actually know, like, we're keeping it real here. But to be always downplaying yourself, all you're doing is sabotaging yourself, because like, and I think you can have one goal and achieve it two ways. Right? So one way is, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, I'm not working hard enough. Be critical and mean towards yourself. That might motivate you to achieve your goals and to work harder, but that's doing it with a ton of bricks on your back. Exactly.
It's depressing. You think that's bad though?
Yeah, because listen,
overcritical,
to be overcritical as a way to motivate yourself. Think about it. It's literally so heavy. You're not good. You should do this. You can't work harder. Look at what everybody else is doing. You should. You will take the steps towards the goal, but you're doing it in such a heavy way. Like, that voice, you should have. It's already so heavy. Well, in my own perspective. But then there's another way to be like, girl, you killed it last week. You're going to kill it this week. You've got this. Look at all your strengths. You're amazing. There's still room for improvement. Let's keep going. We have amazing things to achieve in the world. Look at the difference in energy between you should have, you're not good enough, you need to work harder, versus you are doing so well, but it does not end here. Let's keep going.
Okay, cool. I get you.
But do you know what? I can attest to that as well, because there's so many things I've got in my life that I'm meant to be doing. And it's like, whenever I have the other approach that, like, yo, Sam, you forgot to do this, you forgot to do that, you forgot to do this, you forgot to do that, I low-key panic, and I low-key am just like, oh, life is too stressful. But then when I have the approach, like she said, like, just, I've achieved A to B, celebrate that. That's calm, that's good. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Like, a good example is, like, I'm redoing my house, innit? And it's like, there's so much stuff I've got to do, and I panic sometimes. I'm just like, bruv, I ain't done this, I've still got work, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. But then when I sit back, I'm like, no, Sam, you've got the interior designer, you've paid her to do your designs are done. Celebrate that. I feel like peace. Yeah. Double glazing, you've got someone to do it. Like, I'm at peace. There's still a lot to do, but I've achieved one or two things. So I feel like, that mindset is really important, because we come from a culture, I think a lot of my friends are like that, where we don't really celebrate our wins. Like,
it's always the next step.
You know what? One of our boys, see, Misha is really good at that. He celebrate where he's at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't. Whereas when I talk to me and Hareb, we're always looking forward. We don't really look back. And like, it reminds me of a conversation that we had, where I said to Hareb, I was like, yo, we need to go back and educate, like, the young boys in our schools and stuff. And then Hareb was just like, nah, what we achieved? We ain't done nothing yet. But I was like, bro, when you look back on it, like, fam,
you have.
We've gone uni, we've got a degree, we've got the masters. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
and also, like, those young boys will look at you and be like, if he's done it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
Man said, nigga did
That's a game changer. Literally a game changer. So if you hide all the great things that you're doing, and that's why representation is so important, right? we never knew a black man could be the president of the United States until Obama did it. And now there's so many young black boys out there who are thinking, wow, if Obama can do this, I can do it too. And so it's so important that we have visibly successful black people. And, you know, definitions of success can mean different things to different people, but you never know. All somebody needs to do is hear your story. That you managed to go to university and you graduated and you got your degree and now you're working. That's all somebody needs to motivate themselves. To you, that can just be the norm. But to maybe a young boy from a disadvantaged background where no one in his family has been to university, that your story might be the story he needs to hear to take the next step in his life.
I think then I think with your point, I think it goes back to a person's perspective. So the example he gave, like me and Sam went to uni. So I'll give an example. I went to uni in America before I started uni here. And to me, I see it as kind of normal because the people around me who I was around, athletes, etc., went to uni in America, etc., etc. So to me, it was normal. But then when I speak to someone else, they were like, "Rah, you went to uni because they never knew that was a possibility." So I think it depends what kind of circle you're in. So if you're in a circle where you don't see it, you're gonna be like, it's crazy. But if you're in a circle where, to me, it's kind of normal, I'm just like, okay, I went.
Yeah.
That's the issue. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's dependent on, I guess. Yeah.
So that's why it's so important to share your story, because you never know who's going to hear it, and to share your accomplishments so that it goes outside of your immediate circle to other people who might not have believed in themselves, but now they will because they've seen or heard your story.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Do you know what? See the confidence thing as well. Yeah, it's there's so many aspects to it, because there's one aspect that I feel like we have to talk about, and I don't know if I'm sure you can relate to this. Confidence when you're the only black person in a space, and if I can elaborate on that, you aware of imposter syndrome?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys experience this because you work in London, innit? But when I worked outside London, in Bristol, and I first started working as an engineer, I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I felt shit. I felt like, but I didn't know. I didn't feel confident enough. Be real, my ability. Even though I've got a whole master's degree that says that I got a first class, that it says on paper you're smart. I just didn't feel smart because of the way I speak, because of the way that I dress, because of the way like in a very blunt, I'm a nigger. Like, you know what I'm trying to say. And it's like, even though I've got the brains in here, when these lot around me are talking in their posh like technical languages, when these lot out here are like saying one or two jargons, and even where they carry themselves kind of thing, like it makes you feel like I don't belong here. Like if I say the wrong thing, they'll probably think I'm a fool and fire me. You know what I'm trying to say? So like, as a confidence coach, who's probably been in that situation herself, what is the what's the tips? Is there any tips? Like,
yeah, of course. Everyone goes through imposter syndrome whenever you're like doing something new that you've never done before, or if you're in a space that is like outside of your comfort zone, you're likely to feel imposter syndrome. So the way I see imposter syndrome is like, it's temporary memory loss where you actually forget that you're the shit and you're allowing the circumstances to dictate how you see and feel about yourself. So with like being the only black person in the room is not something that has ever really intimidated me, because I see myself as Tiwalola before I am a black person or before I am a black woman. Like, there is more to me than the color of my skin and my gender.
Facts.
So my identity runs deeper than what I look like on the outside. So always being aware, and I think growing up in Nigeria actually really helped me with that, because when you grow up in a predominantly like black country, the idea of being black isn't a thing. You're just living your life. But when you come to somewhere like England, you start to know that, oh, you are different, you are black, that sort of thing. So I grew up in a country where I was like, I was who I was, and I can own that. So being in a room where I'm the only person that looks like me, it can be a bit scary, I agree, but I don't focus on, oh, I'm the only black woman. I focus on the fact that I'm Tiwalola and I'm here to do whatever I'm here to do, and I deserve to be in this room. So with imposter syndrome, like I said, it's memory loss, where you forget all the amazing things about you. Like in that situation, you forgot that you had your first class degree. You forgot like all the stuff you have learned that you deserve to be in there.
Yeah.
But instead, your negative thoughts were telling you, oh, what if you do that? Or like, what if they laugh at you and judge you? So in that situation, you just forgot. all the great things about you, and you focused on what you are lacking or what your negative thoughts were telling you.
Do you think that comes back in like your let's basically say amnesia in a sense? Where, it comes back in once you're settled in. So once you're basically settled in. So the example back to Sam, once he's settled in his workplace, you think it comes back saying, "Oh yeah, I am confident. I did this."
No, because that's waiting for it to happen to you. You have to go out and get it, and that's why I was saying confidence is a practice. You have to be intentional about it. So I'm one of those people, like, I challenge my negative thoughts when they arise. A lot of people don't do that. So you might be sitting in a meeting and your negative thoughts are saying, if you say what you want to say, people are going to laugh that that's a stupid comment. And most people will hear that and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, that might be stupid. I don't want them to judge me. Retreat, keep quiet, don't say anything. Instead, I will be like, hang on a second. Do I 100% know for a fact that what I'm going to say is stupid? Do I 100% know for a fact that they're going to judge me? Is that even a nice thing to say to myself, that if I speak, I'm going to say something stupid? No, it's not. So instead, I'm going to speak up and share my opinion and then see what's going to happen.
Okay, cool.
You know? So you actually have to challenge your negative thoughts when they arise and not just default into, oh, my negative thoughts told me I'm not good enough, so that must be true. Why is it true? Where's the evidence, you know?
And I think, you know, a big point on that, I think back to your amnesia point, I think you're right. You forget that, like, everyone was once in your shoes.
Yeah.
Whether they're black or white, there was once a point where an individual started a job and didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they had to learn.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's one thing I forgot. Because when I'm meeting people who are big 50, 60, and what they're saying doesn't make sense, but what I'm saying makes more sense than them, I'm like, oh, and that gives me the confidence to believe in myself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
Back to the meeting point, like, there's times I've been in meetings where I've kept quiet, and then what I was thinking, someone else has said it. And I was like, oh shit, so okay, so I ain't that stupid. Oh, really? And that gave me more confidence to speak. But I think, like, it's just crazy what you're saying. I like your term, temporary memory loss. Because it's true, you forget who you are about. You forget who you are.
And when you forget who you are, you just kind of like, the wind blows left and right and you just go with whatever shows up. But when you remember who you are and you remember that you have what it takes to be in this room and to own it, then it's just like, you don't walk in there like, oh, I'm so glad they gave me this favor and opportunity. Like, you walk in there like, hang on, I'm an expert at what I do. So you guys can listen to me. And that's why I think it's not about age. Like, confidence is about believing in your abilities and your expertise, that you have something great to bring to the world. So there could be somebody there who has more experience than you, who's older than you, and might still be shaking in their boots because they're still not sure about themselves. But you can walk in like, sure that, hang on, I'm an expert in this, so whatever happens, happens. And then also not having all the answers, like, having all the answers or not having all the answers, like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, if you don't know the answer to something, it's okay to own it and say, I don't know the answer. That's a really good question. Let me do some research. I'll get back to you. I think the reason why people get imposter syndrome is because they feel like they need to know it all and they need to have it all and they need to be able to tick all the boxes, but actually you don't.
And I feel like the problem is with a lot of people as well, they feel like they need to answer every single question.
Who said that?
Who is saying that? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
Who said that? Who created that rule?
It's true.
Like,
it's true.
You know, we put ourselves in all these situations that are so stressful and negative because somebody somewhere once said that, this, that, and the other. And it's like, no, you get to pick and choose what you believe in life. I don't subscribe to perfectionism. I don't subscribe to the fact that I must always have the answers when somebody asks me something to qualify as an expert. No, there's nobody in this world who has all the answers. It's okay to say, I don't know, but guess what? I can do the research and I'll find out and get back to you.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's cool.
I just feel like you got bare wisdom, you know. I just feel like it's all the. But you haven't even said where people they can find you. Like, what's your social media?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram is where I'm mostly at. So at Tiwalola, so TIWALOWLA, and then at Confident and Killing It as well. So I have like the online community, the Confident and Killing It podcast, and then there's loads of more inspirational stuff.
The link is here, and here. We're doing virtual. The link is here. Editor. The link is here, and here. And here as well. You know what I mean?
I'm done.
Yeah.
So that's where people can find me at Confident and Killing It.
No, that's sick, man. That's sick.